Okay, guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. Thank you. You're welcome at DBC. You're the first person here. Kingsley and Thompson. Thank you guys for coming. Yes, that is it. It was supposed to be 8 p.m. I was about discussing that with my DBC before you guys join. The class was supposed to be for 8 p.m., but I had to reschedule down to 7 p.m. Apologies for that. So let me share my screen quickly. Share my screen quickly. Entire screen. Please, if you can see my screen, let me know. Okay, thank you. So today, let me just. How about this? Can you let me try and hide the intro? You can see this as well, too, right? Okay, thank you. So my name, well, let me say my name. My Slack ID is Dolphin. I'm a product designer. So this is a brief intro about me. I'm a product designer passionate about creating intuitive and engaging user experience, and I also work with no code tools to Webflow basically. So when I'm not designing, you can find me playing games, reading. Sometimes I don't like reading. Sometimes you can find me reading sometimes. So that's pretty much about me. Then today we're going to talk about we are still on the topic of design process, right? That is prototyping and usability testing. So in this class, we are going to learn about talk about the introduction of what prototyping is. We'll talk about what is prototyping. We'll talk about the prototyping process. We'll talk about what is usability testing and how to conduct it, and how prototype can be used for usability testing. So before we start, can someone just tell me quickly what do you understand by usability testing? Do you have any prior experience or prototyping? Someone briefly. At DBC, can you tell me what is you know about prototyping and okay. All right, that's the word, the navigation. Navigation, yeah, I like that keyword, navigation. So because of our time, let's just move on. So welcome guys to the world of usability testing and prototyping. So are you ready to this just like an intro I made up? Are you ready to learn about design and evaluate the user experience of a product like a pro? Because that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to dive into the world of usability testing, how you can go from recruiting participants to designing tasks and analyzing your results. And guess what? We're not just going to talk about it. We are going to go the practical way. So you're going to see it firsthand how it is done and how you can use prototype. The prototype is a feature in the Figma, how you can use that to achieve what we want to achieve. So by the end of this class, hopefully I'll be able to cover everything I have here, hopefully. So by the end of this class, you have the skills and knowledge to create products that not only look good, but feel good too. So buckle up, get your materials, and let's get started. So the first thing here is introduction. As designers, right? I'm a designer. You guys are designers too. It is important to understand the significance of these processes in the overall design process. So, usability testing basically involves evaluating a product, right, or design by having real users perform specific tasks to assess its ease of use, how easy it is to use, the experience that users will get, and overall satisfaction. So this provides valuable insights into what works well and what doesn't, allowing you as a designer to make informed decisions before launching your product. There's this example I like to use when you want to build a house, right? You before you build a house, you have to build a foundation, get your building materials and all of that. You do not just wake up and say, I want to build a house, right? Before you do all of that, you have to go from the early stage, which is having foundations, get your materials together before you have your house. So these are all the things that you have to, like in usability testing, before you launch a product, there are some things you have to carry out to be sure your product is going to be intuitive. And by intuitive, I mean it's going to be easy for your users to use, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So prototyping, on the other hand, is the process of creating a preliminary version of a product to test its functionality and design. So this allows designers to experiment with different ideas and quickly iterate without having to invest time and resources into creating a fully furnished product. So in short, usability testing and prototyping are essential components of the design process as they ensure that the end product will meet the needs and expectations of its intended users. By incorporating these techniques, designers can create better, more user-centered products. Just like I said earlier, if you want to build a house, you have to get your stuff together, the foundation first, get your building materials. Then as you are building, if you need to make any adjustments, you make those adjustments earlier, not when your house is done before you start. Oh, I need to add a kitchen. Oh, I need to add this. You have to do everything at the beginner stage. So prototyping now, we are not essentially talking about prototyping in this class. Prototyping itself, it's more like an advanced course on its own, a separate course on its own. So what we are going to talk about is how we are going to use that feature of prototyping, how we are going to bring it into our usability testing, how it's going to help us to achieve that. So I already talked about what is prototyping. Refers to the process of creating a preliminary version of a product to test its functionality, right? To test the design, and to also test the user experience. The purpose of prototyping is to validate design concepts and explore potential solutions before investing time and resources into creating a finished product. I think this is clear. If you want to, I'll keep using the example of building a house. You do not wait till your house is done before you remember you need to add your kitchen. You do not need to wait till it's done before you need to think of adding the bed. So these are things you do at the earlier stage of building a house. So the same thing is applicable to building a digital product too. Prototyping usability testing rather gives you the room to make informed decisions, right? Testing with real users, those who your targeted audience are going to test this product with them. So you are going to the feedback you get from them would is going to help you make better decisions moving forward as regards your product. So for prototyping now, we have two types. You have the low fidelity, low-fi and high-fi. Low-fi means low fidelity. I'm sure you've discussed that in your previous classes. So low-fi prototypes are rough, early stage prototypes that are used to test basic concepts and get quick feedback. They are typically created using simple materials and often referred to as sketch prototypes. So this is an example of a low fidelity design. I'm going to prototype this now so um, you see the prototype play in action. So this is a design now. Looks like this is an e-commerce app where you list your product, the product name, the price you want to sell it, then ratings you get from people, and other features there. So, but you want to test, you are incorporating a new feature, and that feature is you want to allow your users, right, to drop a review for your product. Okay, for this particular feature, you started this e-commerce website, e-commerce app, but you want to give room for review, for users to drop review for your product. So you've designed that. So you now want to test how easy it is for your users to drop that review, to make that review. If you notice this design, like I said, this is a low fidelity. At this stage now, you do not care about the aesthetics. You do not care about the colors to use. You do not care about images to upload, right? All you are concerned about is the functionality. How easy it is for your, in this case, dropping a review. How easy it is for users to drop a review. So I'm going to prototype this now so you can see that's in action. Let me unhide my UI and I'll prototype this particular screen so you can see what I'm talking about. I think I should do this to, yeah. Trying to change the screen. Oh, this is 275. So all of this, don't worry about this. This is going to be a separate class. So all we are talking about today is usability testing and this is going to how we are going to use prototyping to make use of this. So this is the product, right? This is the app we designed. Now we are at the early stage. You do not care about aesthetics, the color, and all of that. All you are concerned about is the functionality. And the functionality you want to test now is dropping a review. You want to test how easy it is for users to drop a review. So now this is your product, right? You can notice me clicking outside. Can you see that blink? That's like a hotspot. That's telling you that, oh, this is where you need to click, right? So it could be applied to every other product, but for the sake of this class, we're going to start with this. So clicking on this now will take me to the next. I'll navigate to the next screen, just like ADBC mentioned earlier, prototyping, navigating from one screen to the other. So this is the product now. This is the price tag, product name. You notice all I'm using are dummy text because I'm not. This is still at the earlier stage, the low fidelity. I want to try the low fidelity prototype here at the very earlier stage. I'm not concerned about images, typography, and all of that. So all I want to test is the feature, which is to write a review and how easy it is for our users to do that. I think someone wants to join. Yeah, that. Okay, so now we are going to talk about conducting this type of usability test and the different types we have. So I click on the first page. I got it. So what I want to achieve here is writing a review because I can see the button here now. So what I'm going to do, what the user is going to do, or what I expect the user to do in this case is to click on this button to write a review. Oh, okay, fine. I click on that and navigated to the next page. So I have this drop box where I can drop my review and all of that. So this example is a low fidelity prototype because it's still at the very early stage. You do not care about the aesthetics and all of that. So that is about low fidelity prototypes, are rough early stage prototypes that are used to test basic concepts and get quick feedback. Excuse me. Okay. So moving on, the second type on the other hand, which is the high fidelity prototypes on the other hand. So can you see the screen or is it too small? Can you see? Okay, thank you. So high-fi prototypes, on the other hand, are more advanced and closer to the final products. Okay, so in this case now, you are building a product, you've added your color, you've added your assets, your images, videos, icons, any illustrations, everything you need to add to make a final product. This is like a mock-up of a product. Your product is ready, so it creates the final product of design. So in terms of functionality, and they are often created using digital tools we can use to create this kind of prototype. We have Prototype, we have Marvel, we have Maze, Figma. But for this particular class, we're going to use Figma and Maze. So these are used to test detailed design concepts, interactions, and user experience. So this is an example of a high fidelity prototype I have here. This is a login. So this is a login screen, right? You can notice this is different from the screen we had earlier, okay? Because we have the color. This is typically how a login screen will look like. They are done, but you just want to test how easy it is for your users to log in. But once they open your app, you want to test how easy it is for them to log in and all of that. So I'm going to play this now. And like I said earlier, you do not need to worry about all of this yet. We are going to talk about them in later classes. So while you wait for that to load. Okay, so this is your login screen, right? You want to test how easy it is for users to complete the login process. So the first thing they want to do that is to enter their email. So you notice the moment I click on this email here, this like I'm saying, I'm just testing it out. You can see the transition from having nothing from here to this screen we are now. So what I want to test here is, okay, fine. A user will open my app now. The first thing they want to do is type their email, input their password and all of that, then log in. So we are going to talk about different types of usability tests rather later on, how we're going to run them, moderated and all of that. So we're going to talk about them. So this is an example of a high fidelity. High fidelity in the sense that it is closer to the final product. I'm sure if you have most products you are familiar, most applications you are familiar with that will require you to log in, this is how you go about it. This is how the screens look like. We have the name of the app, welcome back, login screen, and the login button, right? So this is high fidelity prototype because it's closer to the final product. So in summary, the choice between low fidelity and high fidelity prototypes depends on the specific design challenge and the goals of the prototyping process. So both have their own advantages and are useful at different stages of the design process. So in this case now, in the first low fidelity we have, we are not concerned about the look yet. All we want to test is the functionality. But at this stage, fine, we are concerned about the functionality and at the same time how it will look, right? So we are working with the low fidelity prototype. So do you have any questions before I proceed? Does anybody have any question before I proceed? No question. Okay, I'll take that as no. So let's talk about is what is usability testing. So here we're going to define usability testing and its purpose. We're going to explain the different methods of usability testing. Looking at this image carefully now, can you all see this image here? This interface looks like a okay. This interface looks like a Facebook interface. I don't know, but look at the instruction there. The instruction given there is to hold your finger, right? That instruction. Look at what the user is doing. Of course, you would assume that once you are done with a product, that your users will be able to navigate easily, but that's not true. But there's a saying that when designing a product, when building a product, you have to assume that those who are using it are dumb. Okay, because you are going to, you're supposed to make your design as intuitive as possible. To you, it might be straightforward, but you'll be surprised by the time you are running a survey, you are making an interview, people might not find what to think it's straightforward. They might not find it straightforward. Looking at this, for example, now the instruction was to hold your finger and look at what the user is doing, right? So I know one way to make this better is you could running this kind of usability test now. We are testing how it is, how easy, how intuitive your product is, and you found this. What you can do in this case is one, you have to change your your caption there. The caption there is hold your finger, right? Okay, fine. I'm holding my finger. So after you, I mean, it's not straightforward. You're not exactly explaining to me. I do not exactly. I can't, as a user, I do not understand what you want me to achieve. But imagine if you write something like, place your finger on the scanner on your screen. Does anybody want to join? Okay. So place finger on your screen or place your thumb, your index finger on the scanner on your screen. I mean, that is explanatory enough. The user will be able to get that, unlike just saying hold your finger. So these are one of the things that we're going to discover when running a usability test. So we're going to see more of that moving forward. So usability testing, now what is usability testing? It's a method that is used to evaluate a product or design by having real users perform specific tasks to assess its ease of use, the user experience, and also the overall satisfaction. So the purpose of this testing is to identify and understand the strengths and weaknesses of a product and also to gather insights into how users interact with it. Imagine if you didn't run a usability testing for this, you would never imagine we have someone out there doing something like this, whereas this was not what you want them to do, right? So the insights you gather from your testing would make you make an informed decision into how you are going to design your products moving forward. So through usability testing, designers can determine if a product is user friendly, you can determine if it is efficient, you can determine if it is accessible, and you can also make informed improvements before launching it. All right. This is to ensure that the end product meets the use needs and expectation of its users, leading to high levels of adoption. So you do not want to wait until, let's say, you are done now, you are working in an organization, your company wants to launch a new product. As a UX designer, you are not going to wait until you launch a product before testing it. You are supposed to, it is required of you to test these products earlier on before launching it. Because this is going to save you a lot of resources, it's going to save you a lot of time and save you a lot of money. Because running those tests earlier on would make you, will give you better insight to determine your product strengths and weakness and where you can improve on. All right. So that is about usability testing. Then now we're going to talk about the types of usability testing. So usability testing can be conducted using a variety of methods depending on the goals and resources of the project. So here are a few common methods. We have the moderated usability testing. The moderated in the sense that you have participants complete task while interacting with the product, while a moderator observes and takes notes on their behavior and feedback. So this method is useful for gaining in-depth insights into user behavior and the user experience. On the other hand, join. On the other hand, we have unmoderated usability testing. So participants complete tasks with the product on their own and their interactions are recorded for later analysis. This method is useful for large-scale testing and for getting feedback from a wider range of users. So moderated testing in the sense that, for example, you are a teacher now, you have students in your class, you are teaching them in your class. During the class, the students can ask questions, right? You as a teacher, you are the moderator in that scenario. They ask questions, they are not clear about a particular subject, they are not clear about a particular topic. You explain to them, you understand their frustrations, you make suggestions just to solve their problem, right? That is moderated testing. You are there with them, okay? Then unmoderated, on the other hand, is still you and the student too. But in this case, let me use this analogy. You are a teacher, you have students, but in an exam hall, okay, your students cannot ask you questions in the exam hall. It's not possible. Despite that, you are still there, you are present there, but they cannot ask you questions. Okay, so all you are going to do at that point, you are just going to sit, invigilate them, watch them carry out the task, which is the examinations they are writing, and they submit. Okay, so that's the difference between moderated and unmoderated. Moderated, you are there, you are observing them as they perform that particular task you want them to perform on your product. If they have any issues, you inform them, oh, this is the right way to go. You observe their behavior and all of that. But unmoderated, on the other hand, you might be there, you might not be there, but even if you are there, you are not doing anything. You just want to make them complete the task naturally, how they would if you were not there. Okay, so this method is used for large scale testing and for getting feedback from a wider range of users. Then another example we have, a common example is the remote usability testing. So this one now is just as we have the name remote. Participants complete task with a product from a remote location. This is type of we are going to see now in this class from a remote location using their own equipment and technology. So this method is used for testing products with users in different locations and is often used in conjunction with unmoderated testing. Then we also have A and B testing. So this type of testing as you present your users with two versions of a product, all right, and you make them to choose which one do they believe it's better. They are going to evaluate the designs, they evaluate the features, and they're going to go with the one they feel that they feel is more effective, the one that solves the problem more. All right, so you're providing them with two samples of a particular design, so but different versions of it. So you want them to make a decision which one they would go for. Then the other example here, there we have the eye tracking. So in this type of example, we have participants complete task with the products while their eye movements are recorded to gain insights into how they can scan and interpret information on the screen. So this method now is used for understanding visual and attention and can provide insights into your design elements. There's a tool for doing this where you can scan where your they can scan your users' eyes where they have particular focus on. This kind of testing can be used if you want to be sure where your users focus more on your products. Okay, so you can if you want to make a CTA in your product, you can say, okay, fine. After your research, this is where they focus more on. This is where you want them to do. You want them to focus more and put your CTA there. So that would enable conversion. We're going to see that later on in this class. So, in essence, usability testing is a crucial step in the design process as it provides valuable insights into how users interact with the products, allowing designers, you as a designer, to make data-driven decisions and improve the user experience. So there are a lot of theories behind this testing, but the underlying goal as a designer is to validate your design before launch. And this will save you time, it's going to save you money and resources as you go on your career as a designer. So now, after talking about usability testing, how do we conduct this testing? So one of your responsibilities as a designer is to ensure anything that you design is easy to use. Okay, you do not want to design something that your user is going to have hard time working, hard time using. You want to make something, you want to make a product that's going to be easy for your users to use. So, and conducting usability testing is a very good way to validate your design decisions. So, conducting a usability test typically involves the following steps. Now you understand what usability testing is. Now you know want to conduct a test with your users. So the first thing you have to do is you define your goals. What do you want to achieve from this test? What is it that you want to find out? You have a product that users do not, that you have a product that does not convert. You have a design that users find hard to use. Those are your goals. Like, I want to validate this particular decision. So that's the first thing, that's the first step you you as a designer will have to highlight when designing a product. So after doing that, the next thing you have to recruit participants. Of course, you're not going to test your product yourself. You're going to recruit real life users. Let's say you want to design a logistic app now. Let's take Uber for example, right? Uber is a car sharing riding app. The target users are people who coming from one place to the other, right? So you identify your users, your targeted users. Those are the people that you want to recruit, okay, to test your product. Let's say you are designing for a movie industry. You're working in a movie industry now. Of course, you're not going to recruit those who do not watch movies, right? If you are designing a fintech app, you're not going to recruit those who have nothing to do with fintech applications, right? So you're going to recruit your targeted users. So that's the next step into conducting a usability test. We're going to see an example shortly. So this is a screenshot I got from one of the communities I belong to, someone who wants to conduct a usability test. So when I was preparing this material, I came across. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be useful. So I took a screenshot. Now this is Samantha. Samantha wants to conduct the usability test. So we're going to analyze her approach here and how we can employ that in our own research. Hi everyone. She's sending a message to a large. What she's doing basically here, she wants to recruit participants. Okay, she has gone past the first test step, which is to define the goal. Now she wants to recruit participants. So this is a sample here. She goes, hi everyone. Of course, you want to greet people. You don't just go and just put it into people's face. Courtesy, you greet people greetings first. Then you tell them what you want to do. She goes, I'm conducting a usability study for my low-fi wireframes. We talked about low fidelity already, which is a movie trailer browsing app. So seeing this alone, you already know the kind of product she's building, right? So if you're not a movie person, you know this is not for you. If you're a movie person, you know, oh wow, let me take a chance with this. Let me fill this survey. And I need 3 more study participants, right, to complete my study. So she now went further and say, if you like watching movies at the theater and have a few minutes to spare. So that automatically tells you her target audience. She's looking for those who watch movies at the theater, not just watch movies now, but watch movies at the theater, right? You can just sit down in your room, watch movies on your phone, but her target audience now, she's specific here, those who watch movies at the theater, all right? And you have a few minutes to spare. This one is for you, okay? So this will take about 5 minutes to complete. It's also important to tell your participants how long your test is going to last for. If you want to recruit me for a particular product and you're not telling me how long it's going to last, I may assume it's going to take an hour, and that might automatically make me lose interest. So you want to tell your participants how long your class, how long your test rather would last. Okay, this will take about 5 minutes to complete and works best on mobile device. She's clear about what she wants, who her target audience are, and what she wants to achieve. And she went further to tell you the best platform, the best device to that you can get the best experience for while conducting this. So seeing this now that it works based on a mobile device now, I will not, as a participant, I will not want to log in onto my laptop to carry out this test because she has put it that it works based on mobile device, right? So you also want to be clear which platforms you want to conduct your test on. So I really appreciate any feedback you had for me. So here's the link. So when I saw this, excuse me, when I saw this, I was like, okay, this sounds so interesting. This is like something I'm going to partake in. So I click on the link that ends this next screen. So this is the screen here. We have getting started. So she now went ahead again and to thank me and said, thanks so much for participating in this research section. Of course, I am giving my time. Your participants are giving you their time, so you have to appreciate them. She went ahead and said, we have a few prompts for you to go through, paired with a few questions to help us better understand your experience with our app. You already know the kind of app she's building because she mentioned that earlier. She now went ahead to say this will not be moderated. What that tells you is that this is an unmoderated usability testing. She will not be there to watch over you. She will not be there to monitor you. You are going to do this as natural as you can, as freely as you can, okay? But keep in mind, voice your thoughts aloud as you are doing the task. The reason for her saying this is because since the research is not going to be moderated, that means she's not going to be there to examine your frustrations. She's not going to be there to examine your behavior. So she encourages you to voice aloud your frustrations that you are doing that. If you see a particular button they have issues with, voice it out. Because the session is going to be recorded. We already talked about that in our unmoderated usability testing. It's going to be recorded. So remember, there's no right or wrong way to do anything. So what this tells is that just do it as freely as it comes to you, as freely as you can. All right. Be sure to mention anything that doesn't make sense, if at all. Of course, that's the point of conducting the test. If anything is not clear to you, mention it, talk about it, all right? So, and this is a working prototype. Some buttons unrelated to task won't work. Of course, she has a particular task she wants to carry out. So some buttons may not be related to the particular task, so it may not work. So just go ahead and carry out the task. So I scrolled up again, then I got here, and the last thing here is have fun. Okay, I was like, let's do this. Then I saw this. I need to install it. Somebody wants to join. So I saw this. This is where my problem came. I need to install this application before I can conduct the test. If I do not have the app key, I think the name of the app is Participate. If I do not have the app's name, I have to install the app. Why is saying this? I just bounced off because one, I do not want to go to the stress of she from the beginning to the end, she nailed every steps from the greetings, from defining the goals, from talking about her targeted users, those who she wants to participate in the research process, from telling you things to do. But where, in my opinion, where I feel she needs to improve on is this kind of applications. When you recruit participants, you do not know those who will be clicking on your link. You have no idea those, of course, you have a target audience, but you have no idea those who will be participating in your study, right? So you want to make the experience as easy, as simple as possible for them. Do you understand? So by doing one of the way to do that, make them to make the experience as smooth as possible. Right now, for me to participate in this study, I'll have to install this application. Really, I mean, I do not want to do that for security reasons, for storage reasons, it could be for any other reasons. All right. So when conducting your own test, when conducting your own study, you have to make sure that whatever platform you're using is accessible to all. If you're on a mobile phone, you can access it. If you're on a desktop, you can access it. You do not need to install. Those are things you have to put into considerations while running your test. So on seeing this, I just feel like, oh, this is not for me because I wasn't ready to click and install. So I just bounced off. So I'm sure there are a lot of people too that would see this, that would bounce, and there are people who would go ahead and install that, and there are people who might already have that installed and go ahead with the interview. So that's that about that. Defining your goal and recruit your participants. She got everything right from the first steps, the second one, but she lost me at the last point requirement to install the application. So I just bounced off. So you have to consider that, to put that into consideration when creating your own design. So the next step is to create a test plan. Okay, you have to outline the task that participants will complete. Okay, the testing environment and the measures you will use to evaluate the results. You have to prepare the testing environment. If you are running a moderated test, moderated in the sense that you'll be there to observe them. Of course, you want a calm place. You do not want to choose a noisy place. You want your participants to be comfortable while running that test. So you have to prepare the testing environment beforehand. You have to administer the test. After you've gone through the whole steps, the next thing is you have to administer to them what you want them to perform. You have to make them to complete a particular task and make the experience as smooth as possible. So once you are done with that, you analyze your results. What do you get from what feedback, kind of feedback do you get? What are your users saying about your products? You analyze them. So this will enable you to make informed decisions as regards your products. So the next step is report your findings. I'm going to summarize the results. After analyzing your results, summarize your results. So I make recommendations for improvements. Okay, you've done this, you've gone to the whole steps. Your users will be able to conduct the test. You've gathered the insights. You've summarized it. So everything, the points. Remember, I mentioned earlier, the points of this whole usability testing is to validate your design decisions. Okay, so whatever highlights, insights you get, whatever recommendations you get, whatever feedbacks you get, are going to make this and make recommendations for improvement for your products. Okay, so after getting that, you want to implement the improvements. You do not just want to gather those feedback and do nothing. You want to implement those improvements. So use the insight gained from this test to make improvements to design. Repeat the process as necessary until the product meets the needs of its users. So you may do this as many as possible. And while recruiting participants, it's advisable to have at least 5 participants. At least. So this would make you have enough data to back up your designs. 1 is not enough, 2 is not enough, 3 is not enough. You have to have at least 5. Of course, you can have more than 5. You can have as many as you can, but at least 5 participants to conduct a test. So you can carry out this process as you can repeat the process as necessary as you can. All right, until your product meets the users. So these steps now form the basic outline for conducting a test. So the specific steps and techniques used will vary depending on the goals of the test and the testing method. Okay. Note, for this particular example, we talk about prepare the testing environment. This should tell you that this is more like a moderated test, because for you to prepare the environment, that means you are there with your participants. But in the events where you are conducting a remote usability testing, of course, you can prepare the environment too. What do you do in such case? You send the meeting link earlier, just like we have for Samantha here. You send the meeting link earlier. You tell them about what you want them to do. You tell them about the platform that will be better. You tell them about how long this is going to take for them. This is just you preparing your environment. Okay, so it depends on the type of testing you want to conduct. Your process, your steps will depend on the type of the goals you want to achieve and your method you use. So it is important to approach usability testing with a flexible, iterative mindset and to be open to making changes. Of course, you do not want to carry out research without doing nothing about it. Whatever insight you get, you're going to make improvements based on that. So now the last we are going to show how prototype can be used. We are over 40 minutes into this, so I would like to take questions now. If you have any questions before we go into that. I do not want this to be long, so maybe we are going to have another class for for discuss the testing. This is like the practical aspects where we are going to use Figma and Maze to carry out this test. We are going to have another class for that. So do you have any questions so far? Do you have any questions so far before I proceed? Okay, I'll take that as a okay, I just joined. I'm lost. You sorry, Joy. You have to work the recorded class. So if you have any question, then you can now ask later. So let's move on. So this is now how prototype can be used for usability testing. Okay, let's look at this example here. So this is a or should we just come on, let me just stop recording here. So what we're going to do is that considering the time spent so far, you're going to have another class for the second part of this section where we're going to run the practical aspect of usability testing, how you can carry it out, how you can use prototype to conduct usability testing, and how um, you can read your results. Okay, you can analyze your result and all of that. So if you have any questions, please ask. This is time for you to ask questions now um before we call it a day. Stop.